All right. It looked a little funny. Wasn't showing the screen to start the recording off on the capture screen. Okay, what you're seeing in front of us is a design that we're going to do later in class. It's the engine block project. Today we're going to do a bit of a variation of this, but the focus is going to be on additive and subtractive modeling. In looking at this and what I've experienced over the past few years doing this project, how students approach this when they get the dimension sheet and they start to create this project is they will start, if I'm moving my mouse around, they start to try and build this from the bottom up. In this particular example, we have a 5¼ inch base in the width and it's 3 inches deep. Well, they will start by drawing a 5¼ inch rectangle that is 2 5/8 inches deep. They'll extrude that up by 4 inches. Actually, a lot of them will try and cut out in their sketch and put the uh, arc in there for the piston, with the piston slides up and down. Into their sketch and extrude this first base up 4 inches. And then they try and build, following my mouse, the walls up, the overhang out. Some of them try and cut this out in the extrusion, only take it up to a certain level. And it's a very one-dimensional approach. It's all additive. Additive modeling means that you're adding material. My approach to this is very different. I build the base block. So this block, for example, so we've got 3/8 overhang here, 3/8 on this side. That's 3/4 together. 3/4 added to the 5¼ base here. I designed a block that's 6 inches by 3 inches, extruded up the full 8 inches, and then start cutting away the material to make the cutouts portions in it. We're going to walk through this on a much simpler example right here. So I flip over to the next screen, and we have, and this is you don't have to derive as much of the material. I think there's one thing left out. This extrusion from the top down to this level, from here down, is 4 inches. I'm going to start off by drawing a 6/4 inch rectangle and extruding it up the full 8 inches. Then I'm going to come back on the bottom, create a sketch. These overhangs on each side are 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch in the back. The front does not have an overhang. So I'm going to create a sketch and I'm going to offset the edges by 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to extrude that up 7½ inches, cutting away this material, leaving the overhang at the top. If I wanted to create the overhang in an additive fashion, I would have to create a sketch on 3 faces and extrude it 3 times. This lets me create one sketch, extruding it, cutting away the material once. One step there. One extrusion, one sketch. Then I'm going to create a sketch on the top and cut out this piece here. Then I'm going to create a sketch on this back face and cut that out. And it simplifies the project a great deal by using a subtractive methodology. Let's get started. I'm going to create a sketch on the top-bottom plane. 2-point rectangle, starting from the origin, click. Oh, my distances are in inches, so I need to change my document settings from millimeters to inches. Click OK. Now let's try the 2-point rectangle. 6 inches by 4 inches. Fit that. So there we are. Finished sketch. Home position. Let's extrude 8 inches. Click OK. New body. Fit again. We have our base design. All right. Let's cut out the edges. This is my front. Right here. Let's cut out the overhangs, or let's leave the overhangs would be a better description. Let's create sketch. Let's roll it over to the bottom face. All right, move it up and center. Let's zoom in a bit. I need to make sure which face is my front. So there's the front, taking the view cube and rolling it over. So this top edge represents my front. Let's go to the offset tool. My overhangs are 1/2 inch. Offset tool. I'm going to select the edges. Chain selection's on, so I'm going to uncheck chain selection, deselect the front edge. Let's make it a negative 1/2 inch, 0.5. Click OK. Let's select it. Finish sketch. Home position. If I didn't select it, I can hide the body. Let's go extrude. Select it. All right. Let's bring the body back. I'm going to go, my overhang comes down. It's got a thickness of 1/2 inch. The total height is 8 inches. So I'm going to go a negative 7.5 inches, leaving that 1/2 inch overhang. Click OK. So now I've trimmed this down, left my overhang. It's a lot easier than adding it on this side, and this side. All right. Now let's create our cutout from the top that goes down 4 inches into this. Let's bring back. All right, so the cutout is 4 inches wide, 3 inches deep. Goes 4 inches down. This section is 5 inches wide in total, leaving a 1/2 inch on either side. All right, let's create a sketch. Top face. This is my front side down at the bottom. I'm going to create a 2-point rectangle. Down on this edge, I'm going to start on the front edge, click. I'm going to be 4 inches by 3 inches. Enter. All right, the total width of from here to here is 6 inches, not the 5 inches that would be on the bottom side, because I got my 1/2 inch overhangs. So I want to dimension my rectangle by creating or position my rectangle by creating a 1 inch space distance between those two edges. 1 inch. And there we are. Let's finish sketch. Back to the home position. Let's select that. Let's extrude. Let's cut out 4 inches down. -4. There we are. We've cut that away. The last sketch is going to cut out where eventually our crankshaft will sit in our design here, this block. So let's create sketch on this face from the interior. Down into position. We'll zoom in a bit. There we go. Now, let's go back and look at our dimension again. The opening in total is 4 inches. The cutout that we're going to make here, where our crankshaft will sit, is 3 inches wide, 1 inch down. In the cutout, we have an arc that has a radius of a 1/2 inch. All right, let's go back to this. We've got our sketch open on that face. Let's create a 2-point rectangle. Keep it in close here. Starting on the top edge, click, we'll come down, go over 3 inches, tab over, 1 inch down, enter. Let's position it. Position this rectangle using the sketch dimension tool. From this edge to this edge should be a 1/2 inch, 0.5. There we are. Let's create our arc at the bottom. Create arc. We're going to use a center arc. We know the center point. We want it to be the center of the bottom edge of our rectangle we just created. So center point arc. I'm going to come across and find my midpoint. Where's the triangle? There's the triangle. Let's hide the body so you can see it better. Come across. There's my triangle showing me the midpoint. Click. Let's go over a 1/2 inch, 0.5. There's my radius. Start it on the rectangle there. Click. Let's come around 180 degrees. Click. There's my arc. Escape out of the arc tool. Let's trim away this interior port line here so I have one enclosed shape. Trim away. There we are. Escape. Enclosed shape. So let's bring the body back and finish sketch. Home position. Let's extrude. Cut away. There we are. Click OK. Let's bring back this diagram. There we are. That's what we were creating. There's our dimensions. Here's what we've got. And we are done. So this is an example of additive and subtractive extrusions, or what we've done primarily up to this point in class has been additive. What we're going to find is more often than not that going with a subtractive approach is much more efficient. The other thing that this highlights in the next exercise you're going to go through, where we have the 3 designs that you're supposed to create, I give you the number of sketches and extrusions that you are to use to create those. You got to have a plan of what you're going to do before you start. All right, I had a very clear plan. I created the entire base and I started cutting away specific sections. All right, you need in the next exercise to have a plan on how you're going to create those items and how you're going to do it in the number of steps that I outlined for you. That's the end of this, and I'll see you next time.